Hi guys! So I made this short video called Windy Day a couple of days ago, and I thought that instead of making a proper tutorial, I'm way too lazy to do that, I would talk a little bit about the techniques I used. So let's start with the main character. It's a simple 3D character. I made it a while ago, and I'm not really a great modeler, and I can barely rig stuff, so I use a pretty basic shapes and rigify rig. There are plenty of tutorials about both modeling for animation and rigging with Rigify, so I won't dive into this. I'm sure you'll find something nice on YouTube. When it comes to 3D animation, I wanted to use limited frame rate here. So the whole project is made in 24 FPS, and that's how the camera moves. But the character moves in something around 6 FPS, and it might sound too low, but as I mentioned, I'm lazy. To get this limited frame rate, I used constant interpolation on my keyframes. I made one loop containing 2 steps, starting and ending in exactly same position, then copied it a couple of times and moved the root every 2 steps, so I wouldn't have to animate every step in this sequence. I mean, I probably should, because that way it would look way more appealing, and loops always look kind of fake. But who cares, right? Then I made him stop and go right. Easy peasy. But seriously, I come from 2D animation world, so I'm kind of still learning a lot about 3D, and if you would like to see a video about my approach on 3D animation, let me know in the comment section. I used pretty basic toon shader using color ramp set to constant value, and I just added some noise to it and played around with it. I added the same shader to the plane, which would act as kind of shadow catcher. Now comes the cool part. I mean, the hair or whatever sticks out of his head. I created a new blank GP object and added child of object constraint. And I've chosen the rig as a target, and particularly the last bone of the spine. In that case it was DEF spine 006 bone. Then I made a short loop containing 4 frames, copied it a couple of times. I mean, I could use time offset modifier, but I wasn't sure then if I wouldn't have to redraw the loop at some point. So I just copied it. It worked fine, but it needed some special attention while the character was turning around, so I created some keyframes and rotated it to match the position of the character. And of course, I changed the interpolation to constant. And that's it. Oh, and by the way, same thing for the face. Grease pencil attached to the armature. It might be barely visible, but there are some outlines on the character. Drawing it frame by frame could give some nice results, but it's time consuming, and so I decided to use GP line art modifier, which creates the line art automatically. I baked it because line art mode tends to be really heavy, and tweak it a little bit by adding subdivide mode, noise mode and thickness, and yeah, that's all. Then I draw the backgrounds. I used like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 GP objects, including this crappy vignette here, made sure that the foliage is on the different layers, and used noise modifier on those particular layers with the foliage. There was one problem with the line arts on the character. It's always set up in front by default, and that's good, otherwise it sucks. Usually when it's covered with 3D meshes, it won't show up, which is good. But if you try to cover it with GP objects, it would always be on top, and that's not good. So I set those objects to be in front as well, and it worked just fine. But there was a problem with this gate here, because I would need the line art to be hidden in this part and to be in front at this part. You can actually keyframe and animate in front options, so that's basically what I did. Yeah, and that's it. Hope you found something interesting for your future productions. Bye! I mean, go animate or something. Bye.